back to my channel. So today we're going to do 3 looks with the Revolution Astro palette. This is obviously one of their 10 collections, and I picked this up, when did I pick this up? Like a month ago? And it released sometime last year, and I really wanted to pick it up and release. I was like, no, I don't need to. And then I finally did earlier this year, and I've been really enjoying it. I really love the color story. So I've done 3 different looks, and obviously I'll give my final thoughts at the end of the video, but it's pretty positive. I mean, it's not like the best quality palette, but I will talk about it at the end. So if you're interested to see my 3 different looks with this palette, then stay tuned. All right, so I've been wanting to go back into this palette for a while, and I just haven't given myself the time to be able to do that, and now I'm definitely going to be doing that. I'm going to go into my eye base from Beauty Bay. Ooh, you know what? There's like a mustard that's called Orion. I think I'm going to go into that one because it looks kind of interesting next to the pink, so I'm just going to go into that first. Ooh, that is very mustardy. All right, that's a really nice shade. I'm going to go into Cosmic right next to it. This one's not super bright, which is a shame. Definitely have to build it up. All right, I'm going to go into Meteorite, which is this dark brown. Okay, I'm going to go into Moonbeam. This is one of their shimmers. It's quite pretty, actually. I'm going to put this here. Okay, I'm going to go into Milky Way. I'm going to put this one here. This is pretty. It actually blends really nicely with that other shade that I went into. That's pretty. Okay, and then we're going to try Celestial, which is down here, which I haven't tried before. I'm going to put this in the inner part. Not what I was originally going to go for, but it's where we are right now. It's not bad. I don't hate that. All right, here is the final look. I've kind of kept it pretty basic. I don't want to put anything else on it, but I really like how, I don't know, I've got like the grungy, sort of swampy mustard shade, and then a little bit of brown, pink, and I think it blends really well, and I'm quite impressed being it Makeup Revolution. I just think the tones, honestly, I think that's why I got this palette. The tones of it were so interesting to me and somewhat unique. Like they're a little bit off and a little bit dirty, some of them, but then you also have really bright ones too. So I think that's why I was drawn to it. But yeah, this is my first look. So yeah, let's get on to my second one.
All right, so for the next 2 looks, I'm talking to you like this, but went into the eye base again. Used the ET shade. This was very vibrant. I like the color of this. It is a little thin though. You'll see it gets a little patchy, but I really enjoyed the color. And then went into Space Invader. I blended out the edges. Didn't really do too much this one. It was very pale. Went into Martian. So this is a dark shimmer, dark base. You know the drill. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I did use it to deepen out the outer V, which was fine. Then we went into Interstellar, and I actually enjoyed this shade. I thought it was quite pretty, not super punchy, but I still thought it was a pretty shade. I think I went into the ET shade again, just for the underneath. You could see I already done my face, done my foundation and whatnot, and I just wanted to do my lower lash line a little bit. Went into Astro. This one really pops. This really made the look what it is. I really do think this is a pretty shade. It's got a little bit of an iciness to it, which I really enjoy, and I thought it worked really nicely. Obviously, it's a very green look. I also put this underneath as well. What else am I doing? Show me. Went into Supernova. Okay, yes. So here I went into the pale Supernova shade for an inner corner moment. And I think it worked decently well with this one. And there we have it. There's the look with my terrible baggy under eyes. But you can see it's a little patchy, but I do like the colors. Okay, final look. Eye base again. Went into Moonwalk. So this is a very pale brown. It looked a little bit darker in the pan. We went into Mothership. And this is okay, this was fine. I don't think you can go wrong with eggplanty shades like this. Went into Flare, so this one was quite a struggle. You can see not much is going on. I actually thought about putting my NYX glitter glue on because otherwise I ended up just packing this on quite a bit. You can see the first layer was just so non-existent, and then I just had to keep going back in and out. It's a pretty color though. Okay, went into Starstruck. I did my base first, and then I came back and did Starstruck in the inner corner. This one you can see, again, quite patchy, thin in areas. A lot of the pigment went right in the inner corner, and then didn't really do well on the outer part. Went back into Moonwalk just to do the underneath a little bit. And then went into Celestial just to add a little bit something extra to the lid, and I put this also on my lower lash line. But wanted to keep this look pretty minimal, and I like that it was different from the other ones, so even with its faults, I do think it ended up looking decent and quite pretty and quite spring-like.
Okay, so here is obviously the final look. I decided to put on my Ciate London lipstick. This is the Miss Piggy, you know, because I'm going for like some pink. So what do we think about this palette? I love that it's versatile. I'm going to go for the pros first. I love that it's versatile. I love the color story. You kind of get what you expect from Makeup Revolution. That can be a pro and a con, because obviously if you are familiar with their formula, they are hit and miss. Most of the time their mattes are pretty decent, but then sometimes their mattes can be pretty thin and you need to really pack them on and build them up. And then same with the shimmers, sometimes they're actually really pretty and decent and more like satin-like shimmers, but they do have a couple of flaky shades in here. And then other times the shimmers are really lackluster. So anyway, I think pro is the color story for me. And I loved that I could do 3 different looks, and they were all, in my opinion, 3 different looks. Like they all looked kind of different from each other, which I really appreciate. So I didn't get bored going into this palette at all, because I really felt like I could do different looks in here, and I could still do different looks. Like there's quite a lot of different combinations that you can go into in this palette because of the color story. And also, I guess because of the way it's laid out. I kind of like that. Now, the cons, however, are a little bit of unfortunate for me. I do feel like, I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but some of these shades are quite lackluster, or you really do need to like build them up and pack them on. So I'm going to start with the mattes first. I did go into this shade initially when I first got this palette. I did a little short with this, so obviously it's not in this video, and I felt like this shade didn't show up on my face at all. So obviously I went into this, I think, what, the second look, and I used it as like an inner corner pop of, you know, a light matte, and I think it worked fine there, and actually it did end up showing up, but you do kind of need to pack it on, which is fine. It's a very, very pale shade, so I'm just curious how it would look on anyone that isn't my skin tone. I also kind of feel the same about this shade up here. This is a very, very light, and I used that obviously today. And you really could hardly see it on my skin tone. So I'm just wondering, if you're not my skin tone, like who could really see that? Who could really use that shade? So there are, obviously, I think it's not for everybody, this palette, which is unfortunate. I will say, and this is actually another pro, they do have these somewhat of like textured shimmers, and I do kind of like them. There's actually, no, actually just these 2, I think, right? So there's this one called Astro, and then this one called Celestial. And I went into both of them. I think the green obviously pops quite a bit more, but they are a little bit more of like your messy, sort of flaky formula, but still Revolution quality, not indie quality whatsoever. But I do find them to be helpful, and they do have an impact on whatever look that you're trying to create. So I do like that they've included those. I think also this Moonbeam is actually quite pretty. This Flare shade, which I put on today, was really hard to work with. It honestly didn't really show up on my lids at all. I really had to pack it on. I think if I use the NYX glitter glue, some of these shimmers would work a lot better. So if you are, you use that all the time with your makeup, then it wouldn't be such an ordeal for me. Personally, I don't use it that much, but I think with this palette, with certain shades, you do kind of need to. I do like this Milky Way shade from, this one is pink, but it does have tiny bit of like a purple to it. So it's not a duochrome by any means, but it's not just one color, which I do think is quite pretty. And then I did like the green look that I did the other day. I thought that was quite interesting. And honestly, the first look I really like. I've enjoyed all three of these looks because they're all kind of different from each other and they all came from the same palette. So I like that. But is it the best quality? No. Is it the quality that I would expect from Makeup Revolution? Yes. And that is a good thing and a bad thing. Like sometimes they do have hit and miss shades, like I said in the beginning. Sometimes you get what you pay for, and this is a very inexpensive palette. If you are not wanting to spend a lot of money on, interesting color stories, I actually really think this is a really fun color story. Like that's why I picked it up, and that's why I'm doing a video on it. I'm like, I want to do a video on this because I want to play with this palette a little bit more. I will say this shade I thought was going to pop a little bit more when I used it on the first look, and it didn't. I really love this mustard shade. So there's definitely shades, like the brown also works fine. And actually this green is so vibrant and so pretty in the second look. I loved it. So there's definitely ones that I really enjoy, and then there's ones that are like meh. And that's what it is. But it's not a boring palette by any means, and I did not get bored using it. So I was very, very pleased with that fact. So hopefully that gave you a good idea of this palette. I don't know if you can even buy this anymore, but if you can, it gives you an idea of what you can do with it and maybe what certain shades work better with others and whatnot and whatever. But otherwise, it was a really fun little project for me to work on this last weekend, just to work through these three shades. And I will be doing a 3 looks 1 palette sort of style video for a lot of different palettes in my collection. So if you already know a palette that you want me to do that on, obviously let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, I do have my next one planned. But if you have a specific one that you want me to do, let me know in the comments. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.